through an isothermal layer at constant true airspeed. Now what is an isothermal layer? Let's say this is your Earth's surface. An isothermal layer is a layer of constant atmospheric pressure. That means temperature is neither increasing nor decreasing, it's stable, it's constant. So let's say you are flying in such a layer, in an isothermal layer, and the temperature in this layer is 30 degree Celsius. You are descending through such a layer. Okay, so you are descending. First things first, as you descend to lower altitudes, atmospheric pressure increases, right? Irrespective of temperature, atmospheric pressure increases. You are descending at constant true airspeed. So let's say you are descending at a constant true airspeed of 30 knots. Correction, 300 knots. At a constant true airspeed of 300 knots. The local speed of sound in this isothermal layer is going to remain constant because temperature is constant. So 39.17 square root of temperature in Kelvin is equal to 39.17 square root of 30 plus 273, that is 303 kelvins. So square root of that multiplied by 39.17 is 682 knots. 682 knots. Now you have task of 300 local speed of sound 682. So what will happen to your Mach number? So the Mach number will be, Mach number is nothing but task divided by local speed of sound. So task is constant throughout this layer, whether you are at this altitude, this or this. So 300. Local speed of sound is 682. So 300 divided by 682 is 0.44. So that means Mach number is also going to remain constant. Why? Because you are descending at constant true airspeed at constant local speed of sound. So local speed of sound is also going to be the same any altitude. So that's why both these variables are going to remain the same, constant. So Mach number which is dependent on both of them will also remain the same. Here. Okay, so the correct answer is Mach number remains constant. Now option delta, CAS decreases. What happens when you are descending at a particular true airspeed to lower altitudes? Atmospheric pressure increases. Increase in atmospheric pressure means increase in pressure available for pressure instruments to register, to work with. Now your airspeed indicator is nothing but your pressure instrument. It registers dynamic pressure. That dynamic pressure is shown to you in the form of a calibrated airspeed. So if more pressure is available at lower altitudes, so calibrated airspeed indications should be more and more as you descend to lower and lower altitudes. But here the option states calibrated airspeed decreases. So that is wrong. It will decrease when you are climbing at constant calibrated airspeed. Correction, to airspeed. Okay. So Charlie is the right one. When climbing through an isothermal layer at constant TAS. So you are climbing at a particular true airspeed in an isothermal layer. So same layer. So when you are climbing at constant true airspeed, when you climb to higher altitudes, atmospheric pressure decreases, right? Atmospheric pressure decreases. So if atmospheric pressure decreases, the dynamic pressure available or atmospheric pressure available for pressure instruments to register will also decrease. If that decrease, the dynamic pressure and hence your calibrated airspeed indication will also suffer. It will go on decreasing in value as you go to higher and higher altitudes. So calibrated airspeed should decrease, not increase. Now we are left with Mach number. Now over here, you are climbing at constant TAS in this isothermal layer. Mach local speed of sound in this entire complete isothermal layer will also remain the same constant. So Mach number will also remain constant. Okay. So isothermal layer is the key word here. Constant true airspeed is the key word. Remember the important points. So Mach number will remain constant. When descending through an isothermal layer, so you are descending isothermal layer at constant calibrated airspeed. Now, like I said, your constant calibrated airspeed. Your calibrated airspeed is nothing but an output which is proportional to dynamic pressure, right? It's proportional to dynamic pressure. Now, when you are descending to lower altitudes, when you are descending to lower altitudes, let's say this is an isothermal layer in which temperature is 30 degrees Celsius throughout. Now, irrespective of temperatures, when you decrease to lower altitudes, atmospheric pressure increases. If this atmospheric pressure increases, the pressure registered by your airspeed indicator, the dynamic pressure, will also increase. If dynamic pressure increases, calibrated airspeed indication will also increase. So when you are descending to lower altitudes, calibrated airspeed should normally or expected to increase. But if you do not want that calibrated airspeed to increase, you want to have a constant calibrated airspeed indication throughout your descent. Throughout your descent, you want to have a constant speed indication. So what you're actually trying to do is you're preventing your calibrated airspeed from increasing, right? You're preventing it from increasing. You're stopping it from increasing. So how will you stop it from increasing? The only way is if you want to have constant calibrated airspeed in your descent, you decrease the true airspeed of your aircraft, the forward speed of your aircraft. You decrease that. When you decrease the forward speed of your aircraft, what happens? Dynamic pressure will decrease. And dynamic pressure is nothing but proportional to your calibrated airspeed, meaning it's nothing but dynamic pressure is nothing but another representation of calibrated airspeed. So you decrease your true airspeed. So as an effect, you have a decrease in dynamic pressure, and that decrease in dynamic pressure will be translated into a decrease in constant calibrated airspeed. And at some point of time, you will reach a particular true airspeed which helps you achieve a constant calibrated airspeed in your descent. You will have to keep on adjusting that. That's a different matter, but this is the concept. So true airspeed should increase. No, in fact, as a matter of fact, true airspeed should decrease. Now we are left with three options: Mach number. Mach number increase, decrease, remains constant. Now local speed of sound at 30 degrees Celsius is is at 30 degrees Celsius is equal to 682 knots. So let's write it down: 682 knots. Now you are descending. So let's take two positions. Position number one, position number two, a comparatively lower altitude. Now, first things first, if you want to have constant calibrated airspeed, you should keep on decreasing your true airspeed as you descend to lower and lower altitudes. So let's say true airspeed is 300 knots, and at a lower position you are going to decrease it further. Let's make it 200 knots. Now, let's calculate Mach number at these two positions. Mach number at this position is tasked by speed of sound. So 300 as a fraction of 682 is equal to 0.44. Mach number as a fraction of true airspeed, local speed of sound. So 200 divided by 682, 0.29. So what has happened to this Mach number? It has decreased from 0.44 to a new value of 0.29. Okay. So Mach number decreases. Option Bravo. When climbing through an isothermal layer at constant gas. Now here you were descending at constant gas. And now if you want to climb at constant gas, you will have to do the opposite. You will have to increase your true airspeed. So climbing at or climbing towards high altitudes will result in decrease, will have an encounter with decreasing pressures, Decrease in pressure, that means ASI registers lower and lower dynamic pressure, hence lower calibrated airspeed indication. Now if you want to maintain a constant calibrated airspeed, you have to compensate, you have to do something that will compensate for this lower pressure in the surroundings. The solution is increase the forward speed of your aircraft, meaning increase true airspeed, that will increase the dynamic pressure. If dynamic pressure increases, so it will help in stopping the fall in calibrated airspeed. Okay, so this dynamic pressure will compensate for decrease in static pressure. So if you increase, so you're going to increase your true airspeed. Okay, so now opposite will happen. You're climbing in an isothermal layer and at constant calibrated airspeed, right? So true airspeed should increase as you go to higher and higher altitudes. So what will happen at lower altitudes? It will be 0.29er. Mach number at higher altitude will be 0.44. So the opposite will happen. So Mach number will actually increase. Mach number will increase. Task cannot decrease. Mach number will increase. Okay, same concept. Now when climbing through an isothermal layer at constant Mach number, at constant Mach number. So let's say this is your isothermal layer close to the earth where the temperature is 30 degrees Celsius, local speed of sound is 682 knots. You are climbing through it. So the Mach number at this position is, let's say, 0.8. The Mach number at a higher altitude position is same, 0.8. Constant Mach number climb. Okay. Now, irrespective of an isothermal layer, inversion layer, a normal ISA atmospheric layer, as you climb to higher altitudes, atmospheric pressure will decrease. Atmospheric pressure will decrease. So if atmospheric pressure decreases, your calibrated airspeed, which is nothing but another form of dynamic pressure, will also decrease. So if dynamic pressure decreases, calibrated airspeed value will also decrease automatically. So delta is wrong. Now you have left with TAS. Now let's calculate true airspeed at this position, which is Mach number multiplied by local speed of sound. What is Mach number? 0.8. What is local speed of sound? Since it's an isothermal layer, local speed of sound is going to remain constant, 682. So zero point 0.8 into 682 is 546. Over here, TAS, again, Mach number multiplied by 682, same value, 546. So what will happen to true airspeed as you climb at constant Mach number in an isothermal layer? True airspeed will remain constant. Okay. So correct answer is option Charlie. Simple. When descending through an isothermal layer at constant Mach number. So again, same concept, you are descending. Instead of climbing, you are now descending. Same local speed of sound, same Mach number. So true airspeed will also remain the same. Okay. So Charlie. Next. When climbing through an isothermal layer at constant Mach number. Okay. True airspeed should remain constant like we saw it before. So delta is wrong. Calibrated airspeed constant, calibrated airspeed increase. Bravo. Now when you are climbing through an isothermal layer, okay, be it an isothermal layer, inversion layer or any other layer, atmospheric pressure will decrease as you are climbing to higher and higher altitudes. So dynamic pressure will also suffer. Okay, so dynamic pressure will also go on decreasing automatically. So the dynamic pressure is nothing but the pressure registered by your ASI to show you a corresponding indicated airspeed or calibrated airspeed. So if dynamic pressure decreases, calibrated airspeed indication will also decrease. Okay, so correct answer is option bravo, calibrated airspeed decreases. Your calibrated airspeed indications are not at all dependent on surrounding temperature. Whether it's cold, warm, or constant temperature, doesn't matter. It's only proportional to atmospheric pressure. 48. When descending through an inverse isothermal layer at constant calibrated airspeed. Now, calibrated airspeed is constant and calibrated airspeed is proportional to dynamic pressure. So if you are descending at constant calibrated airspeed, so that means you are descending at a true airspeed which is decreasing in value as you go on descending to lower and lower levels. Now, normally when you descend to lower altitudes, atmospheric pressure increases. With increase in atmospheric pressure, airspeed indicator is going to register more and more dynamic pressure. More and more dynamic pressure means more and more calibrated airspeed. So if you want to prevent that from happening, if you want to stop that calibrated airspeed from increasing and you want to maintain it constant or fixed, you will have to decrease the forward speed of your aircraft. So if the forward speed decreases, so dynamic pressure for proportional to it will also decrease, and as a result, calibrated airspeed will remain in control. It will not increase. So task should increase wrong. It should decrease. Now, it's an isothermal layer. What happens in an isothermal layer? Temperature remains constant. If temperature is constant, local speed of sound will also remain constant because local speed of sound is directly proportional to temperature. So temperature constant, local speed of sound constant. So option C is the right one. Simple. When climbing through an isothermal layer at constant CAS, now you're climbing at constant CAS, right? Now when you climb to higher altitudes, irrespective of temperature, atmospheric pressure decreases. Decrease in atmospheric pressure means decrease in dynamic pressure. Decrease in dynamic pressure means decrease in calibrated airspeed value. Now, if you want to stop that from happening, if you want to stop that calibrated airspeed from falling in value, you will have to increase the forward speed of your aircraft. This increase in forward speed will supply or will provide additional dynamic pressure. This additional dynamic pressure will compensate for decrease in static pressure around your aircraft at high altitudes. So the correct answer is thrust should increase. Descending through an isothermal layer, you are descending isothermal at constant calibrated airspeed. So your task should decrease. Opposite will happen. When you descend to lower altitudes, pressure increases, dynamic pressure registered will increase, so calibrated airspeed will also increase in value. But if you don't want that to happen, you want to maintain it constant, what you will do is you will take away something from it. Take away something from it. So you will take away some of the dynamic pressure. Okay, and how will you do that? You will decrease the true airspeed or the forward speed of your aircraft, so the dynamic pressure available will decrease, and there will be some balance between increase in static pressure and decrease in dynamic pressure, and this will control your calibrated airspeed. Okay, it will prevent it from increasing. So bravo is the right one. So this concludes the lecture. I hope you have understood all the answers that I have given to you in this video lecture. The answers, the explanations, the conceptual understanding, and how to address such questions. Always draw a picture, label it, and apply all your understanding to that picture. The basics of speed, the basics of temperature, the basics of atmosphere, and you will derive that information. Okay, all this information that I have given to you, the answers, the final answers that I gave to you are all uh, derivatives, meaning I derived that answer from a concept, from the pictures. Instead of memorizing, I showed you the proof. I gave you the proof of why that answer is so and so. So I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. You learned something new today. Don't miss my next lecture in which I will solve the remaining questions from this particular chapter. Best of luck, and do subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Share this lecture with your friends, and do hit the like button if you have liked this video lecture.